I'm Anil Kumar, and here is another problem solving technique to help you solve problems. Now, in this list of videos, you'll find variety of problem solving techniques. I hope they will really help you to understand application questions and solve them. The question here is, in an orchard, 40% of the apples are red delicious and the remaining are green Macintosh. Half of the apples are small and half are large. If 10% of the apples are red delicious and small and 40 apples are green and large, how many of the apples are red and large? Now this is kind of complicated question, but if you try to analyze it, what you figure out here is that we are talking about two things. That is, one size and the other one is the color. We have apples which are red in color or are green in color, right? So apples are red or green, and the red or green apples could be large or small. Similarly, we have green apples which could be large or small, right? So that is what is given to us. It is also given to us that there are 40% of the apples are red. So these 40% are red, so that means 60% are green, right? Red delicious, and the remaining are green Macintosh, right? Half of the apples are small and half are large, right? So small and large is also 50-50%, but we don't know like what combination makes them. So that makes it kind of complicated, right? How to solve such a question? Now matrix is a very good way of solving such question. You can also call this as a table, right? Table of values. So matrix or table of value. So we'll now consider different rows and columns to solve this question, right? So what we will do here is that we'll make rows for red and green. So let's say this is red apples and these are the green apples, and here we'll have total number of apples, correct? And then we have a variation which is small and large, and here we'll write the total, right? So that is how you can organize the data in the form of a matrix, rows and columns, and solve. So we'll write here red, green. So these are two varieties of apples, red delicious, green Macintosh, and these could be small or large, right? So in that way we can organize it, right? So on the other hand, we will write total number of each. So let's write total of each. Now let's read the question and fill in whatever is given to us. So that's the strategy to solve. In an orchard, 40% of the apples are red delicious. So we'll fill in with percent data, right? So we say 40% of apples are red delicious. That means total of 40% are red delicious. Okay. And remaining are green Macintosh. So remaining will be 60%, right? 100 minus 40. So 60% are green Macintosh. Half of the apples are small and half are large. So among small and large also we know percentage, that is 50%, 50%. Half means 50%. That also we know, right? Now it says half are small, half are large. If 10% apples are red delicious and small, so we are given here a combination, red delicious and small is 10%. Okay, that means red delicious and small, so that is a combination. So this particular cell in the table represents red delicious and small, and that is 10%. You get the idea, right? So that is 10%. And 40 apples are green and large. Apples green and large, we are not given percent, but in this particular case we are given a number. So we are, let's not confuse ourselves. We'll just write number 40 here for the time being. 40 apples are green and large, but this is not in percent, it's quantity in numbers. Therefore I'm kind of writing it in numbers, but this is, you should not confuse with the percent. Therefore I have written it in different ink. But that is the data which is going to translate percent into numbers, right? I hope you got the idea, correct? Now, from the given information, let us calculate what we can, right? So we know Let's fill. So 10% plus something should give us 40%, and that something has to be 30%, right? 10% something should give us 50%. 50 minus 10 is 40, so that should be 40%. If that is 40%, to make it 60%, we are looking for 20% in this particular cell. So quickly, you can just sell information in the cell can be filled in. Now what do you know? So from this, you can say 20% of that large green apples are 40 in number. Do you see that? So you get your equation from the matrix or the table itself. So from the table, we know let there be total n number of apples. So we'll say let n be number of apples, right? Combination of both red and green, number of apples. In that case, what we know here is that 20% quantity is 40 in number. Do you understand? So the large green apples, so we are given large green apples are 20%. So they are 20%. Is it okay? So 20% of n, 20% of n is actually equals to 40 numbers. So that helps to find what n is, right? 20% is 2 over 100, 20 over 100 or 0.2. Right? So from here we can find what n is. So from here we can say n is equals to 40 divided by 20%. What is 20%? 20% is 0.2, right? Okay, let me show you on the side. What do we mean by 20%? So when we say 20%, it means 20 over 100, right? 20 over 100 is 0.2, right? So you can write 0.2 or 0.20, right? Anyway, so from here you can calculate n is 20 divided by I'm sorry, it is 40 there. Okay, sorry. So 40 divided by 20%, right? So 40 divided by 20%, which will give you have to move one decimal here. So it becomes 400 divided by 2. So we have 200. So that means there are a total of 200 apples, correct? What do you need to find? How many of the apples are red and large? Red and large, you need to find this amount, right, in numbers. Red and large, 30%. So we know red and large is 30% of n, and n is 200. So of 200, correct? So 30% of 200 is 30 over 100. That means 0.3 times 200, which is 60. Do you see that? So there are 60 apples which are red and large. Do you see that? So now we can write down our answer, and our answer is that there are 60 apples are red and large. Do you get it? So that is how, using matrix or table of values, such questions can be solved. So whenever you have information where there are different types of items given to you and each have different parameters, right? In that case, you could form a table with rows and columns and solve the question. So this is a very, very good technique which can help you solve very difficult questions easily. I hope that helps. Thank you and all the best.